Last on my list, man, I hope I'm not salivating, man. Like, I was so happy when I saw this thing. The Arturia AudioFuse 16, man. Man, like I want a tear to come out almost, man. This thing is the answer to all my prayers. Like 16 line inputs. Here, we got the Apollo 16, man. We got a whole 500 racks. We probably got like 20 preamps in the room because we record all type of stuff. We record drums, bands, all that. My production setup, I don't need preamps. I don't need preamps at all. This thing is the answer to all my prayers. 16 inputs, 8 outputs, man. 2 ADAT inputs, 2 ADAT outputs. Like a reamp input. Basically, they put 2 preamps on the front, so that's dope. They got an eighth inch input on the front, which mind blown emoji. Why hasn't anybody else put that on their interfaces yet? Of course, Arturia gonna have to be the first because they're the innovators. The software, the companion software that comes with it is nice because you can like route things to outputs and headphone mixes and stuff like that, which is nice. For me personally, this was a heaven sent, man, because I was saving up to grab the analog, the 32 channel joint, man, with the 32 inputs. That joint's like $3,500, $3,300, man. This Arturia, and I was only buying it because it's like one of the only interfaces that got those many inputs in like a 1 rack unit. So that's why I was buying it. It's worth it. It's worth what they asking for. Let me not sit up here and act like it's not worth it. The Orion is worth it. But this is a third of the price of the Orion, just about. $12.99, man. $12.99 for an interface with 16 inputs and 8 outputs. Plus the monitor outputs don't eat up the 8 outputs. The monitor outputs are 2 on their own, and then it's got 8 individual outputs. Plus the headphone outputs can be separate. So yeah, man, this thing is a heaven sent. Honestly, I don't have it in hand yet. I sold some stuff to get it. I sold my Argon 8 that I wasn't using, and I sold my what's the other keyboard, man? I sold another keyboard. I sold 2 keyboards and so I sold them. My Arturia on the way, man. It's gonna be in hand. I'm literally gonna give an update with it in my hand, cheesing, because I couldn't wait for this thing. I almost bought a regular AudioFuse because of the way they did the ADAT. I like the way they did it. Like the way the ADAT channel show up in their software made it feel like you had an interface with 16 inputs. So I was almost on a fence with the AudioFuse, but 16 is not enough for me. I got like 4 MPCs hooked up at the crib. So that's 8 inputs right there. So 16 is not enough. I like the AudioFuse 16 because it's got the 16 plus it's got 2 ADAT inputs. So I got 32 inputs on that joint. I'm gonna grab myself a, one of those Pharaoh fish, the 16 input joint. That's what I'm grabbing. So with the Pharaoh fish and the Arturia, I'm gonna have 32 inputs, and it's gonna be like still cheaper than what I would have spent on the Orion. Now the sound quality, I like the analog sound, but when I'm producing, I don't really need the highest quality A to D, D to A. That's when I'm mixing on the Apollo, or when I'm not gonna sell my current interface. I'm just gonna use it on my MPC for don't say the word, like the C word, you have the whole world on fire, but converters. So I'm gonna use it on my MPC Live. My MPC Live for the converters, because the converters on the MPC Live are shitty, they mushy. They're not super shitty, they just mushy. So I have done tests back and forth with the analog. I got a Zen Q. Yes, it sounds better. So I'm gonna keep my Zen Q just to use it for the converters on my MPC Live, because 80% of my beats come out of the MPC Live. So even though I'm loving my MPC key, 80% of my work is still done on the MPC Live. So that's gonna just go right into my setup, man. Those 2 rack spaces, 32 inputs, all line, no DB25. That's the best part about it too. With the Orion, man, I was gonna end up spending like another $1,000 probably on DB25 cables. Well, maybe not 1,000, probably another 200 or 300 on DB25 cables. So that's a nice bonus that this is all 1/4 inch. 16 inputs, man. The software itself is nice. There's a mini hub on there. You can hook your MIDI controller right in the front. It's got MIDI DIN, in, out, and through. Word clock. That's one of the dopest things on there because a lot of these interfaces, they don't put word clock outputs on them. So I need that output to go to the Pharaoh Fish, or let's say if I do get 2 audience, I want that output to go to those so everything can be clocked right. So yeah, man, the Arturia AudioFuse 16. It was a heaven sent for somebody like me. I got about 13 keyboards actively hooked up in my studio all at the same time. Plus my MPCs, that's literally like, I don't really use stereo. I only got like one synth I really track stereo. That's my Hydra synth. Everything else is just mono. So, well, I got a Mini Log XD desktop. So that one will be stereo too, but all the rest are just analog synths or vintage or newer, and they just like mono synths, or, you know what I'm saying? So they only like one channel. I'm not doing stereo on those. So, well, I got a couple other stereo sources now I'm thinking about it. I got a Proteus 2000. I got a lot of sources, man. So that thing, being able to add the ADAT inputs and have 32 channels for like $2,000, because the interface is like $1,300 and the Pharaoh Fish is gonna cost me like a G. So like $2,300, $2,400 for 32 line level inputs with no DB25. Mind blown emoji. My mind is blown a lot today, I guess, man. I'm geeked about it. Can't wait till I get my interface. Right now I'm using like mixers to go inside of the ZenQ, which is fine, but I'm getting a lot of white noise, man, because I hate turning channels down. Nah, everything is gonna be hooked up. Hopefully I can name everything. So I'm gonna know inputs 1, 2 is my MPC live, 3, 4 is my key, 5, 6 is my 60, 7, 8 is my 4,000. Like they all, 9, 10 will be like my 3,000 or something like that. They all lined up, named, ready to go, and then all my synths behind it. That's the way I want to work. And that's why this thing is important, man. It ain't important, but it's just gonna make my life easier, and it's gonna make my beats not have that weird white noise texture in them. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm using like 3 mixers to get everything inside of the DAW. So that's a lot of extra white noise from all those preamps. So yeah, I can't wait for this, man. I can't wait. It should be here like probably today or tomorrow, man. I'm in the studio right now. When I get home, it might be at the crib. And I'm hooking it up. I'm not even going to the, okay, how late I get home. I'm hooking up everything to it tonight. Cause like I said, I've been waiting for that, man. Cause like I said, I've been saving up. I was saving up. I ain't have to save no more. I just boom, got rid of a couple things. Grabbed that Arturia. Now it's gonna make my life easier.